I'm Shelby.
And I'm Kacie.
And this is Chill Seeker.
Okay, Shelby, I am so excited. What are we talking about this week?
Okay, so today I am bringing you the most gut-wrenching stories about any extreme sport I have ever heard. This is going to be tragic, horrifying, and more than anything, a cautionary tale to always be prepared and know the risks when daring to engage in this type of activity. I'm talking about cave diving disasters. This episode will make you so glad. Yeah, cave diving. Have you ever heard of it?
I have never even heard of cave diving. I didn't even know that was a thing. But now I'm gonna avoid it at all costs. Like, what?
Get ready, because this episode is insane. Like, I went down a rabbit hole of cave diving and the horrible accidents and just everything about it and like crazy stories. And these are some of the most harrowing stories I found. So I went through a little obsession period, and although I will never cave dive myself, I think it is one of the craziest things to possibly imagine doing, and that's why I love talking about it.
Yeah, please don't do it.
No, hell no. This episode will make you so glad that you are driving in your car, curled up in bed, at your desk, or literally wherever you are, because you're not in a tiny constricted cave, deep underwater and running out of air. These stories truly demonstrate just how out of our element humans are in the water, especially when we venture into the cave systems underneath the earth. Places I would argue that no human was ever meant to be.
Yeah, not at all. Like, what?
No, literally. It's insane that people do this.
And I didn't realize it was underwater.
Yeah, cave diving.
Well, I don't know. I'm like imagining like a cave, and then they're just like kind of diving in on like a bungee cord is kind of what I was envisioning. I didn't realize this was
like
spelunking.
Underwater. Okay.
Oh yeah, I just had it mixed up.
It's underwater.
I had it mixed up.
Okay, no, but it's like worse than, I mean, okay, honestly, going in any caves, like, have you seen The Descent?
Yeah, no thank you. Hard pass.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite movies because I love horror movies, and that's an amazing one. But yeah, like just going in caves in general is a no for me. I went in a cave when I was on my honeymoon in Europe, and I actually had a panic attack so severe, like the most severe panic attack I think I've ever had, which is saying a lot for me. Oh no, like I literally freaked out. And this was on a little like cave like tour and into a 16th century silver mine. And it was crazy because we were there, like it was like a field trip was there with us. So I really shouldn't have lost my shit, but I totally did. So anyway, I'm very against just like going under the earth in general. But can you imagine also not just being under the earth, but also being underwater?
Nope.
Yeah. No, thank you. But if there's one thing about humans, it's that we are going to push the boundaries of what seems impossible and see if we can go where no man has gone before. This burning desire to explore the unknown is in our nature. Maybe not my nature so much, but like human nature, right? Or at least in the nature of the brave souls who perished in the stories that I will share with you today.
Brave or fucking crazy?
A little bit of both. Let's be real. Yeah, I do want to warn you that the incidents described in today's episode are very disturbing. They involve mass deaths, drowning, confined spaces, and unimaginably tragic moments. Please do not listen to this episode with children around or if you are sensitive to these types of topics. For those who are brave enough to continue, we're diving headfirst into 3 of the most chilling, tragic, and terrifying cave diving disasters ever recorded. Let's start with a well-known idiom I've often seen said around the internet. Quote, "The best thing about cave diving is you don't have to do it." Okay, let's go.
best thing in my book because I am never doing that.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I actually do want to go scuba diving, but I don't think I'm ever going to go, don't think. Actually, both my older brothers have gone cave diving in cenotes in Mexico, and they have some pretty crazy footage from it, but I don't know. As much as it looks cool, it's so dangerous. It's terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that look really cool that I would absolutely never do.
Same. Like, I'm not a thrill seeker. I'm like very comfortable just like on my couch, you know, in my art studio.
We're not thrill seekers. We're chill seekers.
Chill seekers. Yes.
Plugged.
Okay. So Kacie, do you know anything about cave diving? This was my scripted question, but you've already answered it. No, you didn't even know what it was.
Oh yeah, I don't know anything.
Okay, so like I guess like, would you ever do it? And I also know the answer. No, right?
No. Like, that's a firm fuck no.
Yeah. No, honestly, same. But I want you to imagine descending into the cold blackness of an underwater labyrinth with only the light you carry to show your way. Your one lifeline is a thin rope that's leading back to the surface. The walls close in around you as your breathing echoes through your regulator. And the silt below swirls with every movement, threatening to disorient you and erase your path home. The only air you have is in the tanks you carry, and it's been slowly running out since the second you got in the water. If you get lost or stuck or confused, you will most likely run out of air before you even have the chance to make a plan. This is cave diving, one of the most unforgiving and perilous recreational activities on Earth.
Yeah, no, I'm a goner for sure. Like, I'm dead immediately. Like, I, first of all, couldn't even carry whatever equipment was necessary. I would drop
Well, you're underwater,
that
so it's not heavy.
I mean, still, like, do I want to carry it? No. Like, even a flashlight's a little much for me, but I'm a goner.
You are pretty tiny, so...
Like, I'm dead.
Oh my God. No, I try to make my husband carry everything, just like in real life. Can you carry my flashlight and my air tanks? Like,
literally, the only thing I'm good at lifting is other people's spirits. So...
That's adorable. Oh my gosh, you're precious. You know, that's all that you need to lift, honestly. Like, we don't need you to be strong. It's fine. Okay, so... Unlike open water diving, there's no escape in cave diving. If something goes wrong, if your light fails, if you take a wrong turn, if panic sets in, you can't simply ascend to safety. You're trapped, and one wrong move or failure of equipment can mean instant disorientation and suffocation in the darkness.
Suffocation.
Over the years.
Breathing. Sorry.
No, you want to keep going? Okay. Over the years, this extreme sport has claimed the lives of even the most experienced divers. Some vanish without a trace. Others are eventually found entombed in narrow passageways, frozen in their final, desperate struggle. Friends have had to leave friends to their fate because staying to try to save them would mean certain death.
Oh,
the psychological horror is intense. I know. Can you imagine, like, you see me floating away because I, like, went unconscious and you can't even try to save me because you know it would kill you?
Shelby, I would die with you because first of all, like, if you're dying, I'm dying. Second of all, like...
That's precious.
I would hold your hand and it would be like Jack in Titanic.
Yeah. That'd be very romantic.
Except for, like, I didn't have a door to save you, so we would just, like, die together, but...
Okay, we're never going scuba diving. Like,
no, absolutely
this is
not.
a recipe for disaster.
I can barely tread water as is. Like, bathtubs are scary.
That's right. You can't swim. Or, like, you're not good at swimming, right?
I'm a drowner.
Crazy.
I'm a certified drowner. So...
Okay, you're not allowed to scuba dive. I mean, maybe people could use a little more healthy dose of fear. The people in this story and just people who do this sport. Like, it's crazy because this sport, like, people literally do it when they have an entire family at home. Like, you have a whole ass, like, wife and, like, 5 kids. Like, what business do you have?
See, this is why I will never marry someone that's an adrenaline junkie, because just no, I don't want to go through that.
Nope. Also, I just drank my White Claw on screen. This is not a paid endorsement, but
But hey, okay. White Claw, if you do want to endorse us, also like all of the juice box brands that I'm constantly drinking, if you guys want to
I know.
I fucking love juice boxes.
And Jesse sees, he's like, oh my God, her juice box. Like, that's so cute. Like, I know, it's adorable.
Juice.
They're very cute. Like, you can't help but just, you look so innocent drinking them. It's adorable.
Thank you.
Okay. The psychological horror is intense. Imagine knowing you have only seconds of oxygen left, clawing at solid rock, screaming into the void, and no one can hear you. These are the stories I am bringing you today. So, for the first case I'm going to cover, we are going all the way back in time to 1973 across the world to Australia. It all started with a farmer and a hole. Somewhere on a quiet stretch of farmland near Mount Gambier, South Australia, a local farmer stumbled upon something strange. A patch of earth that, upon closer inspection, revealed itself to be a dark, gaping sinkhole. The opening wasn't particularly large, but according to my sources, there was something unsettling about it. Curious, the farmer tossed a rock inside and listened. But instead of hearing the stone hit solid ground somewhere below, there was nothing, just silence. Then, after a long pause, he heard a faint splash echoing up from the depths. Now, while this may have seemed like a cool discovery to you or me, this farmer did not give two shits about it. I mean, after all, who likes an unsettling hole?
Nobody likes an unsettling hole. I'm sorry, I had to turn off my dirty brain when you were like, gaping hole, huge hole.
Oh no, it was 100% on purpose. Hole. I knew you would like it. I was just waiting for you to comment.
I loved it. Okay, so tell me more about this unsettling hole.
Just wait. So, he did his best to fill the hole, piling in rocks and dirt to bury whatever lay beneath. But no matter how much he put in that hole, it just wouldn't be filled. Wow. It swallowed everything. And more of the earth on the surface caved in, revealing an even larger entrance. She swallows.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're telling me there's a second hole he's gonna enter?
No, just one hole that got even bigger.
Oh, okay. Well, that happens.
It happens. Okay. Through it, you could now see something incredible. A gigantic subterranean lake. Pretty cool. Right?
That's super cool.
Yeah, actually. Word of this spread quickly. The water was completely clear and the depth was unknown, and obviously nobody had ever explored it before. For the growing community of divers who are fascinated with Mount Gambier's limestone cave system, it was irresistible. The shaft, as it became known, was soon legendary, but not just in a good way.
I mean, a legendary shaft. Hello.
I mean, yeah. Like, who wouldn't want to check that out?
I know. I would.
In May. She's single, everyone.
I am. Right. I'm very single, so.
Don't say it like that. You're not very single. You're just, like, single. You're just single.
You're right.
Single.
I'm just single. Just looking for my incredible shaft.
Legendary.
Okay. Legendary. I need to shut up so you could tell me this story. So,
no, I love it. No, unzip them, please. All right. In May of 1973, 9 divers, mostly from Victoria and New South Wales, arrived with a plan to explore it, this legendary shaft. They weren't reckless, and some of them were highly experienced divers. Some even had awards. but they were experienced open water divers, and all but one of them had never been on a cave dive before. This was also still early in the era of cave diving, when safety standards were basically just suggestions. They carried open water scuba gear meant for the ocean, not for the tight spaces in an underground cave. They had no extra air supplies and no real way of navigating in total darkness. But they were unconcerned. The day before, they had done a practice dive, setting a temporary line down to around 40 meters deep. It had gone well, and the temptation to explore more was too hard to resist for all except one of the divers. Her name was Joan, who decided to stay behind on the surface, a decision for which I'm sure she would be forever grateful. So, one by one, the remaining 8 squeezed through the narrow entrance, a tight hole, just barely big enough to fit through with their gear on. But once they got through, the world opened up. They were slowly lowered down with a rope ladder into an enormous underwater cave where the walls stretched far beyond the glow of their flashlights. As they plunged into the water, it was so clear that for a moment it probably felt like floating in space. They started to swim downward, the thrill of the unknown pulling them deeper. Okay, I'm going to try to explain how the cave was actually laid out, but if you can, watch the YouTube video where we have the pictures that are appearing right now, where you can see the exact layout of this cave. So, the large cavern area is about the size of a football field or slightly larger, with 2 tunnels descending at a slope downward on opposing sides, getting narrower and narrower as they go, kind of like an upside down V shape. If you were to look at it from the side, like a cross section of the earth, like a V under the earth. There is a shaft of light in the center of the cave that beams straight down and can be used as a sort of north star, marking the entrance in the otherwise pitch black cave, hence why it is called the shaft. If you stay in the center area of the cavern, you can see this light beam. But if you venture into either of the 2 passageways, you're quickly engulfed in complete darkness. One of the members of this group, named Robert, had dived in the main cavern of the shaft 9 times previously and was by far the most experienced cave diver of the group. As far as he knew, on the day of their dive, the group members had all agreed that they would not go past the 200-foot deep central area of the main cavern. The group had only laid one guideline in the center area of the main football field-sized cave with no ropes running into either of the side chambers. If everyone stayed in the main area, they would be able to see the shaft of light at all times and find their way back to the surface at any time. So the guideline they had was hardly even necessary. But Robert soon found that 4 of the other divers had other plans. Christine, who was 19 years old. I know. Her older brother, Stephen, who was 22. Their friend John, who was 20, and another friend, Gordon, who was 28, had decided that they would explore the western chamber of the cavern, venturing away from the light of the shaft, and into complete darkness. They hoped to set a new record for depth at 250 feet, which was the approximate depth of the very end of the western tunnel. But they had no idea that the scuba equipment used in 1973 was simply not up for this ambitious journey. You see, divers at this time were still using normal air for dives instead of the specialized nitrox or Trimex gases that scuba divers use now. This meant that nitrogen narcosis was an even bigger risk. And nitrogen narcosis is a terrifying concept. It basically means that nitrogen is pushed into your bloodstream due to the increased pressures of depth. It has an extremely intoxicating effect. For example, at 50 feet deep, it might make you feel like you've had 1 drink, but at 200 feet deep, it would make you feel like you had 4 or more, all in a matter of minutes.
Whoa.
The following events, I know, it's honestly crazy. Like, this is the reason why a lot of scuba divers who die, because you don't have to be in a cave to experience this. Just any dive at depth, you can start to have this effect, and like, you become delirious and don't even know where you are, or you think it's like fun and funny. You just start laughing and like going down deeper, even though you're like running out of air. It's really terrifying.
I mean, it sounds kind of fun up until the moment you realize you're dying. Then that sounds not fun.
I mean, honestly, all you can hope for is that the people who experienced death while they had nitrogen narcosis were at least at peace or not upset, you know? I mean, I don't know. It sounds like you get really high or really drunk, and hopefully they didn't suffer before they died, right? So, the following events have been pieced together based on the official investigation and eyewitness testimony of the survivors. The 4 excited divers began quickly descending out of the main cavern and into the western passage, deeper and deeper, until Glenn suddenly realized that he was low on air. He tried to reach out to tap his sister Christine's shoulder, who was in front of him, trying to let her know that they were just about out of time and should turn around. But just before he could reach her, she kicked forward and descended over the ledge and deeper into the tunnel below him.
No.
But Glenn wasn't too worried. He figured that they were probably just going to take a sec and look around before turning back and heading towards the surface. As this was happening, the other 4 divers who had stayed in the main cavern began to surface over the course of a minute or two. As they waited, they quickly grew more and more alarmed, as they knew that all of them had ventured into the cavern with the same amount of air. If their own tanks were just about out, and the 4 missing divers were nowhere to be seen, they were on the edge of an extremely perilous situation. A few of the divers tried to swim down to look for their missing friends, but all they could see was Steven's camera and flashlight at the bottom of the cavern, just over the ledge that descended into the western tunnel. This was a very ominous sign that things had deteriorated quickly.
Oh no.
I know. Can you imagine, like, your friends, they're not coming up and you know that you're out of air and they're out of air too, but they're just somewhere down there?
That has got to be the worst feeling ever, like knowing that your friends have just died. Like, that's insane.
They were panicked and terrified, hoping that there was somehow a pocket of air that was sustaining the missing divers and their friends, and that everything would turn out to be okay. But sadly, this was not the case. At the depths these divers were headed to, just one breath uses 7 times the amount of air that it uses on the surface.
Oh, wow.
Meaning that their air supply, 7 times. So their air supply was running out exponentially quicker the further they went down. The total trip to the target depth was 300 linear feet down the tunnel as they were descending. So this is not a short trek, like, this is far. There's no doubt that it was extremely risky for them to attempt this. But what had really sealed their fate was not just their dwindling air supplies. Had they been able to reach their intended depth, quickly turn around and navigate back to the cave entrance, they just might have been able to make it back in time. But they were not expecting the silt. We now know that 4 divers and such a tight space would disturb the fine limestone silt on the floor, turning the once clear water into a murky, foggy, impenetrable mess. These plumes of sand would take hours or even days to fully settle. The divers' visibility was entirely gone in an instant. I know. Can you imagine? Like, all of a sudden there's just, the clear water is turned into just absolutely opaque.
Oh my God, they must have been terrified.
Yeah.
I hope they were feeling that drunk feeling to, like, ease the suffering, because this sounds like the worst way to die.
Right? God. So, their visibility was entirely gone. What had been a crystal clear dive would soon turn into a nightmare. The divers had no guidelines and no way to tell which way was up and which way was out. In the chaos, they became separated. Christine and Gordon swam frantically upward to the ceiling of the tunnel in a desperate attempt to get their bearings and figure out which way would lead them back to the precious beam of light. but the jagged, uneven rocks prevented them from being able to traverse along the ceiling of the cavern. They were trapped. And while desperately feeling the rock walls, searching for some kind of hope, they ran out of air together and then sank to the passage floor.
Wow.
Well, I know. While this was happening, John had been rapidly swimming in the opposite direction of the cave entrance, likely suffering from nitrogen narcosis. Stephen had become turned around as well and inflated his buoyancy vest in an attempt to float to the surface. Tragically, he was caught on an outcropping of jagged rocks and never made it out of the fateful passage.
Oh no.
I know.
I'm wondering how we know all of this if they all passed away. Was this the other divers went in to investigate and found this out, or?
So I'll get to it, but there was a comprehensive investigation which led to all of the statements that I just made. Basically, they concluded that based on where all the bodies were, this had happened, and also the testimonies of the divers who had seen where they had gone and stuff.
Okay, got it.
Back at the surface, the surviving 4 divers immediately called for help. Search parties came, and rescue divers were deployed to bring the bodies of John, Stephen, Christine, and Gordon home. But just to give you an idea of how enormous and disorienting this cave really was, it took 11 months of repeated searches to find them all.
Wow.
I know. The tragic events of this day at the shaft caused many new regulations and standards to be created around cave diving specifically, differentiating it from open water and requiring specialized certifications and equipment. The 9 divers adventuring that day had no extra air tanks, no plan, no dive leader, no buddy system, and no adequate guidelines. Things had to change if there was even to be some semblance of safety around this dangerous sport. The shaft itself was sealed to all but the most experienced divers. It has remained one of the most infamous sites in Australian diving history, a reminder that the line between adventure and tragedy is thin, and nature does not forgive mistakes. The disastrous events of this day also led to the creation of the expression, getting shafted.
Oh, I thought that meant something else.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. But seriously, this was a horrible tragedy. And may these divers' souls all rest in peace. And I really hope that they're out adventuring in the beyond or in their next incarnation. I mean, our last episode makes me believe that they might be today an extreme rock climber or skydiver. Who knows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Now we will move on to the next case I have for you. This one will make you want to pull your hair out, thinking, what if they had just decided to turn in for the night instead of embarking on what was meant to be the kind of midnight adventure that only college students can enjoy? But fate is cruel. And in the darkness of Utah's Y Mountain Cave, 4 young explorers found themselves in a nightmare scenario with no way out.
Oh my God.
I'm talking about the Provo Cave Incident.
No.
Yeah, this one's especially sad. They had been drinking. It was late. I was 21 not too long ago, and I remember how the craziest things can seem like a good idea. This was just supposed to be a quick thrill that would make for a good story tomorrow. But then, everything went so very wrong.
No.
I know. It all started on August 17th, 2005, when 5 young friends were out on the town having some fun. The group consisted of Jennifer Galbraith, 21 years old, Scott McDonald, 28, Blake Donner, 24. Not sure if there's any relation to the Donner Party there. Ariel Singer, 18, and Joseph Ferguson, 26. They were all hanging out at a local bar when suddenly Jennifer mentioned that she had previously explored this crazy cave up in the mountains and that they should all go up there and check it out. This seemed to the group like an exhilarating way to spend the night, so they paid the tab and headed out on this grand adventure. The cave they were headed to was not just any cave. Its official name was the Y Cave because of a large Y on the nearby hillside that stands for Brigham Young University, which is close nearby in the town. But because of its treacherous passageways, this cave was known by locals as the Cave of Death.
The Cave of Death?
The Cave of Death. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going anywhere where death is in the name. Like,
right?
I wouldn't even go to Death
fair,
Valley.
I kind of love stuff like this. Like, I totally would. I would totally go, but I wouldn't. Well, we'll just see. I'll tell you what happens, and you can decide if you would do it. I know you wouldn't. I personally, I think I would have walked into it, but I don't think I would have gone as far as they did. But
okay, tell me more, then I'll decide.
I'm not drunk and 21 years old, so, you know, I don't think any of us can really say for sure what we would have done in this scenario.
I'm 33 and drinking juice boxes, so that tells you where I'm at.
That's very true. Okay, so Kacie, I do want to ask you, have you ever done anything crazy like this? Like, have you ever gone on like a midnight adventure when you were younger where someone's like, hey, let's go to this crazy spot? Like, you know, I gotta ask.
I used to climb trees in middle school.
You've never gone on like a late at night, like it's after the party, we're gonna go like skinny dip in a lake or something?
First of all, I have not really been to a party. Especially when I was
never
younger.
been to a party?
No, and I like never like really drank. So I don't have.
I guess you're right. You were raised very religious. I'm sorry. We can cut that out if you don't want it to be said on the podcast.
Oh no, it's totally good. But yeah, I wish I had like some cool stories of when I was younger. But like my stories are like, yeah, I was in bed at 9 and then I wrote some more poems.
I mean, that's really sweet. Shout out to her poetry book. You should go buy it, by the way. Anyone listening. But
thank you.
All right. Well, I definitely have done some crazy like midnight, like jump in a lake, go in the river.
I love that.
Like I've done. Yeah. I mean, I've gone in the ocean at late at night, which is actually probably the most dangerous thing. But I don't know. I don't know if I recommend it. Like, I certainly am just glad that I didn't have anything bad happen when I did.
But I think it's really cool that you've had those experiences, because I feel like I should have done some of that stuff and I just never did. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it wasn't your fault because you were very, very, like, kept away from the world, you know, like Rapunzel in the tower. So I feel like I'm just glad that you made it out and you're living life now.
Thank you.
And honestly, after I read you this story, I feel like you'll be happy that you haven't done anything like this. So, back to the story. This was a man-made cave that is thought to have once been used for mining. And although some had explored it before, it was not a popular destination. It was pretty much unknown to everybody in the area, except for a select few from the college that would explore it. The cave started with an entrance about 4 feet tall, with a 100-foot-long passageway that descended into the earth, filled with a foot or two of water. You had to crouch along the entire way before you eventually reached another hole in the ground below that is filled with water. The hole is only 18 by 24 inches, and the next part of the adventure requires you to lower yourself down into it, entirely submerged in the water. Okay, are you following?
Yeah, and I would absolutely not do that. Like, I would do
I feel like I would have
the initial part, right? Because the initial part doesn't sound scary at all. But
no, exactly.
18 by 24, like the fuck not? Like no, absolutely not.
I know. I don't even think I could fit through there. Like, I feel like
I don't even think I could fit through there. Like,
you could definitely fit through there. No, but honestly, that's terrifying. I feel like I for sure would have walked down there. Like, if my friends were doing this and like, oh, this is a crazy thing. Like, I would have walked down there, but I don't think I would have gone down in the hole. Like, no. That's beyond anything I've ever done. Yeah. So below the hole and perpendicular to it is a tunnel that is entirely filled with water, a length of 15 feet. The tunnel is only 2 feet wide by 4 feet high, like the size of a refrigerator door. So like you're swimming through this tunnel that is the size of a normal, like not a double door, just a normal refrigerator door.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But I did just have a flashback of being a little kid, and we used to go through the sewer tunnels when I was a kid. Like me.
What?
Yeah, me and my siblings where I grew up.
That sounds awful.
But it was kind of fun because there was never like any water really in there. So we would just go hang out in there and just like play games and stuff. But I like think about that now and I'm like, yeah, that could have been sketch. Like if all of a sudden a bunch of water came or a serial
like
killer
a flash
was living
flood.
in there. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of this horror movie that the whole premise is that there's someone hiding in the tunnels, actually in that area in like Riverside in California.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. No, it's freaky. It's a good movie. I forget the name of it. But anyway, I think that's terrifying. I'm glad that nothing terrible befell you because I feel like if there was a flash flood, you could have died.
Oh, for sure. But when there was flash floods, we used to go tubing down the street because our street would flood. So we would get...
That's fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Like, me and my siblings would just, like, grab, like, a pool, like, donut and then just go down the street.
Wow. Southern California inland activities, I guess.
When you grow up poor, you get very creative. Like, everything's a water park if it's raining.
No, that's funny. I mean, I don't know. We do that with like snow, like an inner tube in the snow, you know, or just like floating the river. Have you ever floated a river?
I would love to float in a river.
You've never done it?
I've only done it one time. And I was dating this guy that like I wasn't really into, and it was like his family trip. Also, like I'm recognizing that I think they still follow me, so we might need to cut this part out.
Okay.
Or we can leave it. But
I mean, fuck him, okay? What, you're not dating him now?
I'm not. So, yeah, but nice family. They took me on a family trip to a lake, and that was the one time that I did that. And it was enjoyable. It was really fun. But then they wanted to be more extreme, and like they wanted to go out like on the thingies. What do you call the thingies that you ride?
Jet skis?
Yeah, jet skis. And I was terrified because when I was a kid, like someone from our church died on a jet ski, and it was like a 13-year-old. So ever since then, I like was terrified of them. So anyway, I
actually know someone who died on one too. I've been on one before, but I didn't feel that dangerous when I was doing it, but I was young, so I feel like you're just like oblivious then. I don't know.
I mean, they look
you should
really
come float
fun.
a river.
I would love to float with you.
It's very fun. Okay, so back to the story. So for this, you have to hold your breath and swim through the 15-foot tunnel that's the size of a refrigerator door to make it through to this cavern on the other side. In this cavern, there's a pocket of air where you can surface and breathe. This isn't a big cavern, and there's really not anything to explore. It's only 6.5 feet tall, with a slight peak in the middle with 3 feet of submerged water and 3 feet left with an air pocket above the water. I'll be putting diagrams of this cave in the YouTube video, so you should be able to see it if you're watching. But it's literally just like a tiny, soggy, muddy, pitch black cave. Like, this is not much of a destination.
What's the appeal? Why do people want to go there?
I think it's just the thrill. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's anything to see. It's just doing it at all, right? It's an adventure. It's risking your life, right? I mean, I think that's the appeal.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I'm like, we risk our life every day just like driving the freeway. Like, I'm good.
Hell yeah. No, seriously. Ugh, terrifying. Honestly, that's the most likely way to die. So if you drive a car, that's what we should really be afraid of.
Facts.
But anyway, it was already 2 a.m. by the time the 5 explorers reached the entrance to the cave. They carried only a single flashlight. One of the men, Joseph, decided to stay at the entrance and wait for his friends instead of venturing down with them. Smart.
Yep.
I think I would have at least gone down with them, just not gone in the water, but I would have gone in the cave because it does sound kind of cool. Anyway, the others made the trek down into the tunnel until they finally got to the bottom. Probably feeling like it was too late to turn back, they lowered themselves one by one into the small, freezing, water-filled tunnel and swam in the direction that Jennifer had told them to go. They each made it into the cave, out of breath, heart racing from the black, blind, cold swim through the tunnel. They probably took deep breaths of air when they finally surfaced, trying to catch their breath.
Wait, did they have equipment or just a flashlight?
No, they had a flashlight.
So they didn't have any type
No.
of like air or anything.
Nope.
They were just straight up like holding their breath, hoping for the best. This is insane.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I mean, to be fair, other people had done it before. So this was like a thing that certain college students would do. And it was 15-foot length that you needed to swim to get into the cavern, which was doable without air. Like you could make it, you know? So it's not like you needed equipment to go down here if the conditions were perfect and you knew exactly what you were doing. So because people had done it before, they tried to do it again. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So the problem was the air was almost certainly bad. This means that the air is not made up of the same composition as the air we're used to breathing, because it's been trapped in this tiny air pocket with no new air able to come in, and the oxygen has been depleted by other visitors in the cave who used it up by breathing, causing a buildup of carbon dioxide.
Yeah, that part, we didn't think about that beforehand. Dang it.
I know.
Shoot.
I know. Yeah. So the fact that the cave was made of limestone didn't help either, since limestone is known to release carbon dioxide into the air.
Everyone knows that about limestone.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I hope you're joking, because I didn't know
I'm
that.
totally joking. I didn't even know what cave diving was before this episode.
That's fair. Okay, so the investigation also later found evidence that other visitors had burned candles in this cavern, which further depleted more of the available oxygen. Yeah.
Someone was doing a
They didn't
full-blown
know.
ritual in there, and
They're doing a
oh my
seance.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, I think that there was just no light down there, so they probably just wanted to see, but they weren't thinking about the fact that it depletes oxygen.
Of course.
You know, that's my guess. Yeah. So, even if the four friends spent only a few minutes in the cave, they almost certainly experienced symptoms of breathing in bad air.
Oof.
Like disorientation, weakness, and shortness of breath. Like, I feel like I'm getting like shortness of breath just talking about this.
Just thinking about it, I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like, no.
Seriously, this is terrifying. So this would make swimming the 15 feet through the tunnel back to the entrance an extremely dangerous endeavor.
Yeah, you have no air.
Yeah, no, literally, like they got there, they held their breath on the way into the cave. They get into the cave, they can't breathe because there's no oxygen, and now they have to go back through the tunnel to get out. Like,
And it's 15
hold their breath
feet?
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that far, but just under the conditions they're in, like, it seems impossible.
Exactly,
right?
and it being so tiny, like they have to go one by one, right? So someone's gonna run out of air quicker. It's
God. Well, just wait until you find out what happens. It's one of the most horrible things I've ever heard of, honestly. Okay, so they were down there. They couldn't breathe because the air was bad, but they know that something's horribly wrong, right? They're running out of breath. It's taxing. They're like, this is not right. So they have to go back because otherwise it's certain death. Like, they know they can't breathe in there, so they have to just go back right away, right? So they attempted as soon as possible for any chance at survival. We know that Jennifer took off through the tunnel first, swimming towards the opening, but this is where things went so very wrong.
no.
I know. She became disoriented, unable to find the entrance, frantically searching for a way out, only to find cold, hard, solid rock. Jennifer succumbed to the water, becoming unconscious and soon drowning. Back in the cavern, it was Ariel's turn to swim out. So she dove in, swimming as quickly as possible through the tunnel, until she encountered something that probably shocked and disturbed her more than we could ever imagine.
Jennifer's body?
Jennifer's body. Yeah.
Shout out Megan Fox.
I know, I was going to say no relation to the movie.
Yeah. What?
Okay, but seriously, imagine how horrible this is.
That would be so fucking terrifying. And also, like, she encounters the body, so she probably can't get through at that point then, right?
No. Think about it. It's literally the size of a refrigerator door, like a normal little refrigerator. So if somebody's blocking it, like, you can't get through.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. So this is like not at all related to cave diving, but when I was 12, I was at a water park. And it was, I think it's been shut down, but it was called Pharaoh's Lost Kingdom. And
okay.
I was there with my family, and my aunt was with us. And I was going down the tunnel slide, and like the workers like time it out so no one can like run into each other. And I had gotten to the end of the tunnel slide and like had just rotated around, so I was like facing the side, but I had like literally just gotten out of it. Like not even like fully out of this slide. And my aunt comes barreling down this slide at full speed because like the worker told her it was fine to go. And she came at me so hard, her feet broke my ribs.
Shut up.
Yeah, so I had broken ribs, so obviously like we left, and my dad was so cheap. He was like, "Thanks for breaking your ribs, Kacie. We got a refund on those tickets."
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, my dad was like thankful that we got like 2 hours for free, even though his daughter had broken.
Oh my God. He can go fuck himself. I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast, but you know what? Even if he does.
But yeah, my broken ribs. So that sort of reminded me of
That's
that.
awful.
It's like you can't have too many people in a tunnel because someone breaks their ribs or they die.
Something's gonna happen that is really unwanted.
Yeah.
Something bad. Yeah. God. Yeah, so I mean, this is kind of like that, but like infinitely worse, right? Oh, God, okay.
So much
it only
worse.
gets worse from here.
Oh, God, because then they're all going to find
really...
body after body, right? Until they all just die in there. Oh, fuck. This is like
it's pretty fucked up.
Nightmare fuel. This is so awful. This is so bad. And then the one friend that stayed behind, like not even knowing what's going on down there. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Okay, go on.
I know, I'm laughing, and that's really horrible. I'm laughing because of your story and just how horrible this is. Like it's so unbelievable. This is my coping mechanism, okay? I don't want people to cancel me because I'm laughing about this, but it's truly horrendous. Like I can't imagine this. When I was reading about this and like learning about it, like it actually did give me nightmares.
No, it's literally the worst.
Yeah. So after waiting another minute, it was Blake's turn to make it back to the entrance.
I like this is so stressful because I know what's gonna happen, but it's so fucking stressful.
I know. It couldn't be worse, and I'm so sorry. I'm laughing right now.
It's so bad because it's like, what are they supposed to do? Like they're literally like out of oxygen and they can't move their friend's body. Like this is.
I know.
I
know.
Truly
No, it's
cannot imagine the fear, shock, sadness, just all of the worst emotions. Like honestly, Jennifer had the best case scenario being the first one to pass away because everyone else having to see, especially the person who goes last. Like, oh my, okay, I'll stop talking.
No, you're good, because I don't know why, Kacie, but I have like a giggle fit and I need to just handle it because this is not something to giggle about.
I do the same thing. Like anytime something's super traumatic, I get the giggles. Like even like my first therapy session after surviving the mass shooting, I had major giggles talking about it, and I'm like,
no, you didn't. Wait, are you serious?
Not funny. Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better right now, because like I was like crying actually, like learning about this, and now I'm giggling, and it's not.
No, like the giggles
normal.
are a nervous thing. It's like a nervous, like this is so horrific, and I don't know how to process it.
Okay.
And then it makes you giggle. That's like a thing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
We all know you have a heart. We all know that you are so empathetic and that this story really impacted you. And the giggles.
It truly did.
For sure. The giggles are just
they can go fuck themselves.
Giggles can fuck off because we know this is not funny subject matter. Mm-hmm. We know how serious this is, and we respect everyone who lost their lives. So the giggles have nothing to do with the story other than the fact that it's a traumatic story and we get nervous talking about it, so we giggle.
Oh my god, I'm not even high. Like this only happens if I'm like smoking weed. But okay, all right.
Wait, should we do an episode high sometime? Comment below.
We absolutely should.
If you think we should.
Yes, let us know if you want to get high with us.
Yes.
And we'll share the story.
Ooh, I love that.
Ooh, okay, it'll be fun. Okay, all right. After waiting another minute, it was Blake's turn to make it back to the entrance. But he encountered not one, but two lifeless bodies of the girls in front of him in a moment straight out of a horror film. Next was Scott, and I'm sure you can guess what happened next. Yeah.
Oh my god.
All three of his friends were either dead or dying in front of him, completely blocking the small passage and making escape and survival impossible.
Oh my god. So did he try to turn around?
They pretty much had no option to go anywhere.
Yeah, you're stuck at that point.
Because, I mean, honestly, even turning around in that small of a space...
Yeah, it's just...
would be a challenge. Especially after already being out of breath when you're breathing in the bad air and then you try to swim. And then you're also, like, the confrontation with your friends' lifeless bodies in the passage. Like, I feel like I would be so confused. I probably wouldn't even turn around even if I could, because you'd just be like, what is happening? And then it would be too late. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you would probably try to save your friends somehow if you saw them.
Yeah, like you try to drag them through. Yeah. But I mean, honestly, like, I've looked into this and it seems like it physically, like with physics, it would have been impossible for any of them to save each other because the passageway was so small, and the way that a lifeless body is, it's like they're not floating in an ergonomic way. Yes, exactly. Like they're floating all like spread out, and so how do you try to like maneuver them through the passage and up into the hole? And now he's got three of them in front of him. Like, what is he gonna do? Like, and also he's out of breath already.
Yeah,
he was breathing bad air. Like, he is in a lose situation. There was no way he was making it out of there. I know, this is so fucked up.
This is truly so awful. Yeah. And like, yeah, especially because like now that I hear the whole story, I know that I wouldn't have done it, but my friends certainly would have. Like, friends that I've had throughout my life, like, do love adventure and exploring. And I could totally see my friends doing that. It's so awful.
I have definitely done crazy things in the past because, like, a group of friends were wanting to do it, you know, and, like, you think you're just being daring. Like, you think that you're invincible. You don't think that anything really bad could possibly happen, right? So, like, I mean, I don't know that I would have ever gone down into the water, but I feel like I would have at least walked down that cave with them. And maybe if I was like, you know, a handful of White Claws in, like I might have been in the mind state to be like, you know what, fuck it. I want to be adventurous. I want to be the fun one. I'm not going to back out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like there was probably a lot of pressure. And like I said earlier, by the time they got down there and they're like at the entrance to go down and they all agreed on this, I feel like there's so much pressure to go through with it. Like, what are you going to do? First of all, there's only one flashlight. Are you going to be the person like, I want to take the one flashlight and go back to the surface because I'm not going down on this adventure that we agreed upon? You know what I mean? I feel like there's so much pressure to just do it.
Yeah. So moral of the story here, guys, don't be afraid to be like the loser of the group that stays behind. Like, it's okay. Seriously. I've done it my whole life. Like, it's good. It's stuff up here on the surface is not too bad.
Yeah, stay on the surface.
Yeah.
Stay on the surface is really the moral of the story, but we'll get more to that later. So, as we know, all 3 of Scott's friends were dead or dying in front of him, completely blocking the small passage and making escape impossible. One by one, Jennifer, Ariel, Blake, and Scott had all met their fates in that pitch black, watery tunnel. Meanwhile, back outside the cave, Joseph was waiting for his friends to come back. It was now 5:30 a.m. and he had no idea what to do.
Oh, poor
There
Joseph.
was no plan. I know, but he couldn't understand what was taking them so long. So he grew more and more concerned. He called some friends who had known about the cave and then eventually called the police. Like, something's obviously wrong. I mean, he didn't know when they were planning to go back, to be back at the surface. So he was like unsure of what to do. But eventually he knew that like, this
Something
is not
went
right.
wrong.
They've been in there too long. Exactly. So he called the police. Rescue crews arrived soon, holding onto a shred of hope that the 4 friends were just trapped in the cavern, still alive and just waiting to be saved. But as the police pumped water out of the cave, the water levels dropped, revealing the horrors that had taken place. First, they found Jennifer's body. Then they found the other 3, all facing the same direction of the exit towards the entrance hole, only feet away from survival.
Oh no!
I know.
That makes it so much worse that they were so close to making it out.
I know. Like, I honestly think if the air hadn't been bad in the cavern, they definitely would have survived. You know,
For
like
sure.
if they were able to like
if
fully
other
breathe
people
in
did
and then
it.
swim back. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think they would have. I think the fact that the air was depleted in there, the oxygen, and that they were breathing in the bad air is what really sealed their fate.
Jeez.
So, sadly, when Joseph was interviewed, it became even clearer how avoidable this tragedy truly was. Jennifer, when she had visited the cave the first time, had actually passed out in the water on the way through the tunnel and had to be rescued by another friend.
Okay, what, Jennifer? What?
Yeah.
Why would she do it a second time?
I mean, I think we can just say like adrenaline junkie. Like, why does anybody go cave diving? Right?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I don't know, obviously. Instead of seeing this as a dangerous sign that the cave was not safe, she invited the rest of the group to come and see for themselves. And look, I'm not blaming Jennifer for what happened. Obviously, these were all adults, and they all had free will to choose to enter the cave one by one. But it really just does underscore how none of this needed to happen, and how chasing a thrill when you're not properly prepared for it can lead to devastating consequences.
Yes, also, I just want to point out, if Jennifer wasn't able to hold her breath the first time and someone needed to pull her out, why would she go first? Why would you go first, Jennifer? Let someone who's better at holding their breath and getting out go first so they can pull you out if you're not able to hold your breath. I don't know.
No, like you're 100% right. And I think probably if I had to guess, the reason is because she brought them down there. And so she felt the responsibility to try to lead them out. You know what I mean? Like she was the only one who'd ever been there before.
Yeah.
These people all just followed her down. So she probably felt like the leader. Like she had to be the brave one to go first and try to escape. So, I mean, I just imagine the pressure that was on her after being the one who had this idea in the first place. But you're totally right. Like obviously that was not, you know, the most responsible decision and most logical. But again, they were breathing bad air down in that cavern. I don't think anything that they could have done could have been logical. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah, it's very sad. There's also a lesson in here about Joseph, as you said earlier. He didn't feel like going in the cave, and so he just didn't. Just because people around you are doing something doesn't mean that it's a good idea or even safe at all. You know, if all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you too and all that? But instead of a cliff, it's a cave filled with water. This is literally the epitome of that idea. Joseph survived because he said no. I have definitely been in situations where there's a lot of pressure to go along with something that seems crazy or dangerous. And I can't say that I've always made the right decision. But it's something I think we could all work harder to do.
Yes.
I don't think you need to work any harder to do that. I feel like you would make the safe decision.
For sure. But
I could work harder.
Other people, I'm always the Joseph in the situation. I'm like, all right, I'll play lookout. You guys go ahead.
I mean, the fact that you don't even drink, I feel like says a lot. You know what I mean? You're cautious. You're like, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to be chill. I'm going to go to bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
It's fine. Meanwhile, I'm up till 3 a.m. It's fine.
It's okay. You're doing research.
I am doing research. You're right. Okay. So, now, there's one last thing about this story that makes it even more disturbing. In the cave, going from just above the entrance of the watery tunnel through the submerged passage and into the air pocket of the cavern was a thick rope, which could be used by explorers to guide their way through the tunnel and ensure that they didn't miss the entrance on the way out.
No! There was a rope they could have used and they just didn't see it?
I mean, we don't know if they didn't see it or if they just saw it, but we're like, whatever, it's easy, right? I mean, it seems like a 15-foot swim. There's only one direction, right? I mean, you'd think that it would not be a problem. I mean, one of the other things that people pointed out about this cave is that there's the tunnel into the cavern and the entrance, and then past the entrance there's actually another little cavern, underwater, completely submerged. Just the tunnel extends beyond the entryway. So people in the past had swum into that and been confused and panicked almost, but then had been able to backtrack into the entrance. So the whole point is that it was very easy to get disoriented and get lost and be searching for the entrance and not be able to find it, and so they should have taken the rope, but either they didn't see it or they decided that they didn't need it.
Jeez.
Yeah, but if they had been holding onto that rope when they entered the tunnel returning from the cave, these 4 lives would have likely been spared. Of course, we'll never know why they didn't take it, if they had seen it or if they just chose not to because it seemed so easy to swim back. But
gosh,
it is even more tragic regardless. Whatever the case may be, the Y cave where these events took place was permanently sealed with concrete following these extremely tragic deaths.
Good.
May each of the 4 victims rest in peace. Okay, so I know that was a lot. It's very intense. But this last story I have for you truly shook me to my core.
Oh gosh, it gets worse.
I mean, I don't think it gets worse. I think that's as bad as it can get, but it gets even more crazy, I would say. More shocking. I don't know.
I'm double fisting my juice boxes.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, so this next story is one of promises fulfilled, records broken, and lives that were inextricably linked in a cruel twist of fate. This is the story of Dion Dreyer and Dave Shaw. This story takes us all the way to South Africa, to the infamous Boesmansgat, or Bushman's Hole, another hole.
A
One
bushy
of the deepest
hole.
Submerged, I know, a bushy hole. Yeah. One of the deepest holes in the world. Well, especially one of the deepest submerged freshwater caves in the world, specifically. Reaching a staggering depth of 927 feet or 282 meters deep. So this is a very deep hole, a very deep, bushy hole.
Such a bushy, deep hole that's super wet because it's underwater.
It is super wet. It's true. Yeah, fully underwater. The cave itself is a vertical tunnel that descends into the earth in total blackness. Unlike many underwater caves, Boesmansgat has no horizontal passages, just a sheer, practically bottomless void. This is like a vagina from hell.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
It was October 1994, and a man named Dion Dreyer was just 20 years old. Dion was an experienced diver with over 200 dives under his belt, and on this fateful day, he was excited to be a support diver on the record-breaking attempt in Boesmansgat to help facilitate logistics and make sure the right equipment and air cylinders were available for the diver who was trying to break the record. But on that fateful dive, something went horribly wrong.
Of course it did.
So, Dion and a group of divers had descended into the darkness, their lights cutting through the eerie greenish-blue haze. Nobody knows exactly what happened, although it is speculated that Dion may have overexerted himself carrying the air cylinders into the cave, leading to a buildup of carbon dioxide in his body. Suddenly, one of Dion's dive buddies realized they were missing a diver. He swam deeper, searching, and could only see a light fading far into the distance below him.
Wait, and Dion only did this to help somebody else?
Yeah, achieve a record.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I mean, I think he was there to get experience too, and be a part of something and dive in this cave that was really world renowned as being the special place. Like, I don't know. I mean, who can speculate on his motivations for being there? But yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. So this light was fading far into the distance below him. He tried to chase it, but it was falling faster than he could descend. And he soon realized that chasing this unconscious diver would be a suicide mission. So this is what I was talking about earlier, that you sometimes have to leave your friends to their deaths because you know that if you try to save them, you would die too.
Gosh.
I know. So you think that in that moment you'd like keep chasing me? I don't know. I feel like your survival instincts would kick in and you'd be like, surface.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or I'd be like, life just isn't worth living without Shelby, so I'm gonna die too.
I love you. You're too sweet. I love you. Stop it. Thankfully, we'll never be in this situation. Okay?
No.
So, he made the extremely difficult choice to leave Dion to his fate.
Mm.
The remaining divers returned to the surface and recovery crews were brought in because there's no rescue in this situation, unfortunately. The search for Dion went on for days, but at those depths, there was nothing anyone could do. Dion's body was assumed to be lost and unrecoverable, forever swallowed by the depths of Bushman's Hole.
Yeah.
His grieving family had no choice but to accept that their son would never be returned to them. For a decade, Dion's body remained somewhere deep in the cave, out of reach and out of sight, but not forgotten. And then, in 2004, a man named Dave Shaw had a chance encounter that would change his fate forever.
What?
Dave was not just any diver. He was well known in technical diving circles. A commercial airline pilot by profession, he spent his free time pushing the limits of human endurance. Boesmansgat was exactly the kind of challenge that he lived for. On October 28, 2004, Dave set out to break a world record, diving to 886 feet into the abyss, deeper than almost any human had ever gone. To explain a little about how difficult this feat would be, you have to understand the risks of nitrogen narcosis, as we discussed earlier, and decompression sickness, or the bends. You can't just sink down and then swim back up. You have to be extremely careful, stopping along the way at calculated times, breathing the exact proper mixtures of gas and air, and ensuring that you don't become disoriented or suffer any equipment failures. Just like Dion was a support diver on another record-breaking endeavor, Dave Shaw had a support team with him to make sure he had all the right equipment and that nothing could go wrong.
But something for sure goes wrong, right?
I mean, it probably wouldn't be in this episode.
Right? Yeah. Damn it.
I know. Fuck. Okay. So, he set out for this dive, and thankfully, everything did go flawlessly. He used a specialized closed-circuit rebreather system, which recycles the air you inhale instead of releasing it as bubbles. In order to use fewer gas bottles in total and have less stuff to haul down with you. So this is like really specialized equipment that allows you to go really deep without having to haul a bunch of extra tanks with you, essentially.
Okay.
Some have even criticized the use of this type of rebreather, alleging that it works too well, allowing divers who have no business going so deep for so long to do so without necessary training or precautions. But for Dave, this just meant a better opportunity to do what no one else had ever done before. Using the rebreather, Dave reached his target depth, took a moment to absorb the surreal, crushing stillness around him, then turned to begin his ascent. And that's when his flashlight beam caught something extremely disturbing in the cave on a wall in front of him. It was a body. Suspended upside down, stuck in mud, was Dion Dreyer.
Oh my God.
I know. After 10 years in complete darkness, Dion's remains had not decomposed in the near freezing water.
Whoa.
His dive mask was still on. I know. His wetsuit was still intact. It was as if he was simply paused in time, frozen forever in the moment of his death.
Yeah.
Dave was shocked. Yeah, I mean, as I would be. That's terrible. Can you imagine? Okay, so just think about being that deep underwater by yourself, and then you're with a human body, a dead body, next to you.
Terrifying.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would be?
Especially like that it wasn't a decomposed body, so you have no idea how long he's been down there.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like a decomposed body would be just as bad. But like, I mean, I don't know, any body. Maybe if it's like fully a skeleton, it would be less terrifying. But I feel like this would be really scary no matter what.
For sure.
God. Okay. So Dave was shocked and tried to pull Dion's body out of the mud, but soon realized that it was a fool's errand without the proper plan or equipment. So he turned away to ascend back up out of the cave. But in that instant, he made a promise. I will bring him home.
Aww.
I know. When he finally made it back to the surface 10 hours later, 10 hours. 10
That's
hours
insane.
to ascend. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I know. These dives are no joke. Like, it's crazy to me that people do this on purpose.
It's insane.
Anyway.
Also, like, being the people waiting for him must be terrifying, not knowing if he is gonna ascend.
I know. I mean, you have to hope for the best, I guess, but it's... The people who do this regularly know that they may lose any of their friends at any time. Like, you can't expect that everyone's going to make it out alive when the risks are so high, and such a tiny mistake or error or equipment failure can lead to your death. Like, there's no way around it. You're putting yourself at so much risk.
It's like the people who like do like free soloing. Like, that is insane.
What is that?
Oh, maybe it's
Free-soloing?
not. Maybe it's not called that, but it's like the rock climbing without any equipment.
Oh, yeah. No, it's literally. It's very. I think it's very comparable to that. Honestly, it's like you're putting yourself at this insane risk. Like, I mean, the only difference is I feel like with the free soloing, if that's what it's called, you could use climbing equipment. And it seems like they're just choosing not to, or maybe they're doing such ridiculous peaks that like you couldn't possibly do it with climbing equipment. I don't know. Either way, it's insane. All of this is insane, and I will never do it. But you know what? If you do, like, more power to you. I just hope that your family and friends have accepted that they might not see you again.
Yeah,
which
insane.
Is really fucked up. Yeah, it truly is. Okay, so when he finally made it back to the surface around 10 hours later, he made this declaration to his friend and dive partner, Don Shirley. This decision to recover Dion's body was not one that Dave made lightly. A dive of this magnitude was beyond dangerous. No one had ever attempted a body retrieval from such an extreme depth. But for Dave, it had become personal. He returned from this dive and contacted Dion's parents, swearing to them that he would not stop until he brought their son back to them.
Wow.
I know. 3 months later, on January 8th, 2005, Dave Shaw returned to Boesmansgat to keep his promise. This time, he had a full team of elite divers supporting him. He was as prepared as anyone could ever be, and the plan was meticulously calculated.
Does he die? Does he die? Oh my God!
This is a story,
Does he die?
Casey. This is a story.
Oh my God,
let me just tell you the story. Let me tell you the story.
Okay,
let me tell you the story.
Tell me the story. Okay.
We're almost dead. You just gotta hold on. Okay. He was as prepared as anyone could ever be, and the plan was meticulously calculated. He even had a specialized camera attached to his helmet and a camera crew with him to document the recovery. Dave specifically told one of the cameramen that he never usually puts a camera on his helmet because it can get in the way of the cable for his dive lights. But today,
did he predict his
he made
death?
an exception.
Oh my God.
No, he didn't predict his death. No, he just said that he doesn't normally do this. Okay, he did something that he didn't normally do, which was put the camera on his helmet. And he made this exception because of the extraordinary nature of this mission. He felt it was important to capture it, so he wanted to have the camera. Yeah.
Very admirable of him.
Because of this, he was not able to loop the light cable around the back of his neck like normal. Instead, he told the cameraman he would simply set his dive torch on the ground next to him if he needed both hands, instead of having it attached.
Oh no.
I know. So he would try to set it in a way so that it shined light onto the body or whatever he was doing, rather than having it be attached to him. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I know. So you see where this is going, I'm sure.
I'm terrified at where this is going. This is like,
I know.
this poor guy trying to do such a good deed. And
Yeah.
no good deed goes unpunished. Fuck.
Once again, I guess we keep learning that lesson, don't we?
Oh my God.
Okay. So his friend, Don Shirley, though, later said that if he'd heard this conversation take place, he never would have agreed to the procedure because this was dangerous and it was not the right way to go about this mission, according to him, right? I mean,
So
hindsight's
who did
2020, obviously.
Of course, but who was he having this conversation with? Was it just the camera crew?
Yeah, this was the camera crew. Yeah.
Okay.
So his right-hand man, Don Shirley, did not hear this go on and later said if he had known about it, he would have been not okay with it at all.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Poor Don losing his buddy.
But the plan was to cut Dion free, put his body into a body bag that had been sewn by Dave's wife, and attach a lift bag to bring him towards the surface, and then begin his own careful ascent. Every second would count, as I'm sure you could imagine. So he slowly began descending into the abyss. At the staggering depth of 886 feet, Dave reached Dion's body. Just as planned, he was working away to wrangle Dion's body into the body bag, but then something went horribly wrong. The body began to float.
Oh no.
Yeah. So when Dave and his team had consulted with forensic scientists, they were told that the body would have fully decomposed by then and wouldn't float. But as we know, the body had not decomposed and it did float. Again, hindsight is 2020, right? This is a really extreme, unusual situation for a body to be stuck in, right? So they, I guess, didn't know
my God.
what was going to happen.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was floating, making getting it into the body bag 100 times more difficult than it should have been.
Yeah.
On later reflection, some in the scuba diving community ridiculed this decision to try to put the body in a bag, claiming that such an arduous task was unnecessary and never should have been attempted at these depths. So, Dave was struggling with the body when one of the lines became tangled.
Oh, fuck.
As he was working frantically to free himself, his breathing became shallow and heavy. And suddenly, he stopped moving.
Fuck! No!
From that point forward, Dave's dive computer recorded no motion. Above, the support team waited anxiously, watching the dive line. Before long, they knew that something had gone horribly wrong. Shaw had died of carbon dioxide poisoning on his 333rd dive.
Wow.
The eerie, almost poetic final twist. It turns out Dave would make good on his promise.
Oh.
Dave had successfully dislodged Dion's body, with both of them stuck to the dive line.
Wow.
The next day, their bodies floated up near the surface together on the line.
Wow.
Dave had accomplished his mission, and Dion's family finally got to bury their son.
Guy, I have chills. That is so
I know.
tragically beautiful. That's like...
It's haunting.
I mean, he died a hero. Like, he did what he set out to do. I mean, I can't even imagine what his wife must have felt knowing that she made the body bag, she was all for this plan, and then she lost her husband in the process. Like, that is so horrible.
Yeah. I mean, the only solace is that I'm sure that she had accepted that this was a possibility considering his extreme diving habits, you know? I mean, he was an adrenaline junkie and she married him that way, so I would hope that she at least was as prepared as anyone could possibly ever be for this, right?
Also, that it was his 333rd dive. Like, I feel like that's significant in some way, like an angel number 333.
Yeah, I don't know much about angel numbers, but if anybody does, like, definitely tell us. What does that mean, right?
Yeah, what is 333 in a row mean?
Okay, so people had very mixed reactions to this story, with some people in the diving community accusing Dave of letting his ego run wild and leading him down a foolish path that he never should have taken, given his wife and children who relied on him. So that's another viewpoint of this story.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, he truly felt like he was doing the right thing. And he thought he could do it. So someone who's had 332 dives at that point, like, I'm sure he didn't think he was going to die doing this. I'm sure he thought, I've done it before. I could do it again. Like, it's going to be no big deal. Like, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a rescue mission, it was a recovery. And some think he lost his life for very little gain. But others view him, like you, I think, as a selfless hero who sacrificed his own life for a stranger's family to have closure. Whatever you believe, no one can deny that this story is haunting. Cave diving is the closest thing to exploring an alien world that exists on Earth. The people who enter this world do so knowing the risks. But stories like this remind us that sometimes the cave doesn't let you leave. The stories I told today are not just cautionary tales. They are horrific tragedies, moments frozen in time where human ambition met the unforgiving reality of the deep. The divers in the shaft, young, eager, and full of life, never thought their last moments would be spent blindly clawing at solid rock, just feet from safety. They never imagined their final breaths would be wasted in frantic, useless movements as the silt clouded their vision and the last of their air ran out. The explorers in Provo Cave, laughing, excited, high on adrenaline, had no idea that a fun midnight excursion would take their lives. That they would perish in the black water one by one, each blocking the next path to rescue. And then there's Dave Shaw and Dion Dreyer, two men bound by fate. Dion never knew that his body would be discovered 10 years later, still frozen in the moment he was lost. He never knew that another man would try to find him in the depths, make him a promise, and then die trying to bring him home. Every single one of these people thought that they were going to make it out. No one goes into the water thinking they'll never see the surface again. They believed in their abilities. They believed in the thin, fragile thread of safety they'd created for themselves. The guide ropes, the air tanks, the calculations. They believed in the adventure and that their courage wouldn't let them down. Until suddenly, it did. The best thing about cave diving? You don't have to do it. After today's episode, I doubt that you ever will. All right, now I want to hear from Kacie and from you, the listener. Would you ever go cave diving? And do you think there is any sport that is more terrifying that I should cover in the future? Maybe free soloing, if that's what it's called. I don't know.
I definitely think we need to cover that because I'm pretty sure there's only like one person still alive that's like actively doing that, or like one really well-known person, I should say.
Crazy.
I need to ask my friends that are super into climbing because they'll be able to tell me like who the main people were that have done this and passed away
and died.
Yeah, and
oh
like
my God. Okay,
these are people that would do it like all the time and were so skilled at it, and all it takes is one tiny mistake to die.
Yeah.
But
it's just like cave diving.
Yeah. To answer your question, absolutely the fuck not. I would not do that. I also like have zero desire to like ever go skydiving. I would never go bungee jumping. Like none of that appeals to me.
I used to think that I wanted to go skydiving before I died, but I have since given up on that dream. It's really not for me.
Yeah, I feel like I could probably see you doing that because you seem more adventurous than me. But yeah, jumping out of
Not
a plane,
to that extent, though.
No,
I couldn't. My older brother has, but I don't think it's for me. Like, I just don't feel like the need to do it. I feel like I wouldn't get enough out of it. Like, I'm just not that much of an adrenaline junkie. Like, I feel like I don't get the reward, you know?
Yes,
like, I want to
exactly.
feel the rush. Like, I'd rather just take drugs, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, that's like easier, like it's a little bit less risky at least. I'm kidding. I mean, I don't take drugs either, but I like smoke weed. You know, I'll drink a little bit. I'll take some mushrooms. Like, I don't
yeah,
need to
when
jump
you
out of
said
a
drugs,
plane.
my
That's
mind was
insane.
like weed and mushrooms. Okay, perfect.
Yes, there you go.
Like I could experience a thrill that way, but keep me in my living room, keep me in my sweatpants, and that's where I'm good. I feel so much anxiety in the day today. Like, I don't need to be an adrenaline junkie. I feel that just like getting out of bed. Like, I feel the adrenaline that way. Like, I'm good.
I wish I felt adrenaline getting out of bed. It might make me do it more, you know? Okay, so subscribe to our channel on YouTube and tell us on patreon.com/chillseeker and our social media at Chillseeker Podcast on Instagram and Chillseeker Pod on TikTok. And leave us a 5-star rating if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or thumbs up button, hit that like on YouTube. Please, we love you.
We love you.
So Kacie, I do have a question for you. Would you be more afraid of dying by drowning deep in a cave or getting eaten by a shark in the open ocean?
The cave, for sure, I think.
Really?
Wait.
I feel like I'd rather go out in a cave. Like, a shark is the worst.
No, I said that backwards. The cave is how I would want to die, not the shark.
Okay, yeah, same.
Fuck that.
No, the shark would be worse, yeah.
Getting eaten by a shark? Oh my God, terrifying. At least in the cave, like, you're experiencing some euphoria aspect is what it sounds like before
and
you
it's
die.
like somewhat peaceful, like it's not violent, right? At least mostly.
Yes. And like, I have read that drowning does have a euphoric, but also, how do people know that? Like, I don't know. Like, when people are like, oh, when your dog is doing this, it means that they love you so much. And it's like, how do we know that? Did a dog
I mean,
come
haven't
back
some
to
people
tell you that?
drowned and been brought back to life, maybe? Like, people who've drowned and came back, were resuscitated. Maybe they're telling you that. I don't know.
That's true. But I was like,
that's my only guess.
I had a near drowning that I think I mentioned last time, and
you told me about that. So tell us about it, because I think that was actually just on a phone call. I don't think that was during an episode. So do you want to tell us about it?
So I was like, I want to say I was like 3 or 4, and my brother is a year older than me, and we were swimming in my mom's friend's pool. And my mom was like on the complete opposite end of the pool with her friend, and I was with my siblings and friends in similar age, and I was the only one that didn't know how to swim. And I was getting some FOMO because the other kids knew how to swim. They didn't need to wear the floaties that I was wearing. And so I thought, well, I can swim.
That's so sad.
I know! Me with my little floaties while everyone else is like diving off the diving board. So I'm like...
Well, you just wanted to fit in.
I know!
You just wanted to be like the other kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I should have been like Joseph and just stayed out of the pool. But I took the floaties off. I proceed to start drowning. And my brother, somehow at 5 years old, was such a good swimmer and was very like aware of the fact that I was drowning. So he got some breath, goes underwater, holds me up by my feet so I could get some air. And then he continued to do this thing where like he'd come up for air, he'd lift me up, and we were both getting air because my brother was essentially saving my life. And my mom and her friend quickly realized what's happening, but because we're in water, it takes them a long time to get to where we are in the pool.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then I just remember like coming to like outside of the water, and like I'm like coughing up water and all that, and then like this, and my mom's like, do you remember what happened? And I was just like, an angel saved me. But
Aww.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was just my brother.
That's really sweet, though. Did you, when did you realize it was your brother, not an angel? Are you sure an angel didn't save you? I don't know. I mean, it
was for sure my brother, but maybe at that point there was like an angelic presence there helping him. Maybe.
That's very sweet.
But
maybe. Who knows?
But I don't remember any feelings of euphoria. I just remember being like taking the floaties off. And when I took the floaties off, I didn't realize that I would sink. I wasn't aware that was keeping me up.
Well, you're used to having the floaties, so, you know.
So, yeah, I
That's so sad.
I'm a drowner.
Poor baby.
Yeah.
Aww. No, I don't think you'd sink now. You should need some swim lessons, okay?
I do.
Come up to my parents' lake. I'll give you swim lessons.
Oh, please.
We can learn how to tread water. Yeah.
Yes.
But only when you're wearing a life jacket, because I'm not risking that.
Oh, yeah. Life jacket.
You're not going to die on my watch. No way. No,
I am such a fan of life jackets. Can I just do an announcement that life jackets are cool, guys? Let's stop pretending that they aren't cool. I think they're the coolest. Give me that orange life vest or else I will sink.
Yeah. I know there was a story going around about some influencers or Instagram models, whatever, who didn't want to get tan lines and wanted to be able to take selfies without their life vest. They took off their life vest and they ended up drowning when the boat capsized. So
oh my God.
That was a little while ago. Very sad. Super tragic, but just another lesson to always keep your life jacket on if there's even a chance that you could end up in the water, just be safe, guys, because water kills a lot of people. Yeah. It's very sad.
Yes.
It is. Yeah. Very sad.
Well, on that note.
So many people drown. Yeah, I know. On that note, always be like Joseph, okay?
Yes.
Always be like Joseph.
Moral of the story.
Keep seeking chills, my friends.
Yes.
Bye. Bye.